Welcome everybody to Forza Horizon 4, and today we're taking a look at the 2016 Aston Martin Vantage GT12. Now only 100 of these were produced, each selling for £250,000, all of which were sold before it was eventually unveiled at the 2015 Geneva Motor Show. And yeah, this is basically a standard Vantage V12 that has a lot of modifications going for it. Outside of the obvious visual modifications, it has a carbon fibre front wings, carbon fibre bonnet, carbon fibre door casings, carbon fibre sport seats, and a carbon fibre centre console. It's also got engine upgrades such as magnesium inlet manifold, magnesium torque tube, and titanium exhaust. So yeah, quite hefty on the modifications, and obviously visually it's different. It's got a front splitter there, you've got new side skirts. You've also got this unmissable rear wing and rear diffuser there. So yeah, quite a visual difference as well as engineering difference over the standard Vantage Vantage V12. And yeah, the engine is also, like I said, been fettled with those upgrades that I mentioned earlier. That means that this 5.9 litre V12 engine produces 593 horsepower and 461 pounds-feet of torque, which is really rather impressive. I know it says 6 litre, but Aston Martin's, for whatever reason, always rounded up. But yeah, that's still a mightily powerful engine, especially considering it's naturally aspirated. It's certainly got no turbochargers or superchargers going on that engine, so yeah, it's got to deal with all that. But because despite all these upgrades that evidently make it look like a track car, it's still rather well equipped inside, as you can see. Might well have a carbon fibre centre console, but all the buttons and toys and gizmos in there are still there. It's even still got a screen in the middle there. So yeah, this might well be a lighter, more powerful and more visually striking Vantage, but it's still as comfortable as before, still as practical, because it still even has a boot, which is unusual for these kind of light and more powerful versions of standard cars. So yeah, you can basically think of it as a GT car that has been made better, but not to the point that it's unusable every day or uncomfortable or unlikable to drive every day, but still nonetheless being a fast car. So yeah, it weighs 3,450 pounds overall, which is really rather quite lightweight, though certainly not as quite as lightweight as the likes of a Porsche 911 GT3 or other lightweight rear-wheel drive cars like this. But nonetheless, let's get out there and see what all these extra upgrades have done to the car. Now, we're nearly 600 horsepower on tap, and this Vantage GT12 weighing a lot less than the likes of a V12 Vantage S. This is really rather quick. In fact, it's only the newer Vantage with turbochargers and whatever that is really faster than this, and it's far outclasses the V12 Vantage S that is also on this game from 2013, primarily because it weighs 221 pounds less, but it also has 28 horsepower more and 4 pounds-feet of torque more as well. So more power, less weight is inevitably going to make for a faster car in terms of acceleration. And yeah, that's the case when you look at the figures. 0 to 16 3.7 seconds and 0 to 108 seconds, whereas the V12 Vantage S can only do 0 to 16 4.1 seconds and 0 to 100 in 8.8 seconds. And now that V12 Vantage S is hardly slow, it's certainly a really rather good car, and it is a little less serious than this, which makes it a little bit more fun. But as far as the driver's car goes, this is far better. Now granted, this isn't as quick in terms of top speed, because it has 7 times the downforce as that V12 Vantage S, meaning that this can only do 180, whereas that V12 Vantage S can do more than 200 miles an hour. So yeah, it's nowhere near as good in terms of top speed, but then again, that's not really the point of this car. It's supposed to be a GT car that just so happens to be lighter, more powerful, and better in terms of handling, while also looking a little bit more outlandish. But yeah, it's a real perfect mix, to be honest, between GT car and track car. I'm not really showing off how good this car can handle, to be honest, but yeah, it is a really, really good car in terms of handling. Braking wise, it's really good as well, because inevitably it has less weight to stop, so there's less momentum going behind it, so it brakes a lot better. And yeah, even though it's not quite as fun as the Vantage S, because obviously it has a lot more downforce and a lot more grip, You can still play around with it when the time comes, if you just give a prod of the handbrake for instance, and yeah, it will drift, but it's very difficult to do so, and I'm hardly the best to show off that. But yeah, overall I really like this car. I love the sound of the V12, especially thanks to that titanium exhaust, which really just makes it sound all the better. And then the fact it's revving to more than 7,000 RPM means it's got a hell of a V12 whale on the go. And yeah, because it is such a good handling car, it means that you can really push it, and most of the time you will get away with whatever you're giving it. So yeah, it really can take all of the abuse you're going to give it, and obviously the faster you go, the more handling you have, because obviously it has such a big wing, big front splitter, diffuser and all that lot to keep the car flat and level. So yeah, really impressed by this car. I can't remember if it was on previous Forza games, but I am glad at least it's on here, as it is a really rather fun Aston Martin, and might not be quite as much fun as a Vantage S, purely because, you know, it's harder to induce oversteer and hold it in a slide, but outside of that, it's faster, better handling, and a lot more striking visually than the V12 Vantage S, and that alone makes it a worthwhile car. Never mind the fact that I think it actually sounds better as well, thanks to that exhaust and the additional power it's got going as well. So yeah, really rather impressed by this. Just a shame that we might not well get a car like this from the newer Vantage, but still a great car in its own right. Nonetheless, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.